What's going on, everyone? We are back with the next video. We are doing the next video in the Understanding the Officer series, and today we are going to be covering Eruptor, another OG officer to Warpath. I'm very excited to cover Eruptor and fill you guys in on all of the details surrounding Eruptor. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back. I hope life is going well. I hope you are all doing wonderful. Again, super excited to cover Eruptor in this video. But before we get started, if you like this video and enjoy this Understanding the Officer series in general, make sure you guys like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are not already so you do not miss any future uploads. Let's try to get this video to at least 115 likes. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump in and start talking about Eruptor. So our man Eruptor is on the screen, and he is the next Generation 1 officer we are discussing. All of the Generation officers, or I should say out of all of the Generation 1 officers, him and Antonina Shevchenko are the first two like real OG artillery-specific officers, but they play two different roles, both in the early game and in the late game. Antonina, which we have covered in another video, if you have not watched that, I definitely encourage you to go watch that, especially if you are a new player in Warpath. But Eruptor is a different type of artillery officer. Antonina is just an absolute workhorse of an officer all around. She's good on base defense, garrisoned. She's good in the open field against other units. She's good against bases. She just fills every role you could possibly want an artillery officer to fill. She does it really well. Eruptor, on the other hand, is a very niche officer. Eruptor is very much geared towards attacking bases. You can even see at the top right-hand side of the screen here, one of his tags is Siege, and he's also got an attack tag. He is very, very geared towards attacking bases because he deals out quite a bit of damage against fortifications. So I'm obviously not going to go through all of the skills. He's a Generation 1 officer, so you are going to have access to him very, very early, and you're going to be able to see and read the skills for yourself. But one of the big notable skills is his second skill, which increases the damage dealt by 25% when attacking fortifications. When we're talking early game, obviously, you're going to have him in a perfect world paired with Antonina Shevchenko, and that's going to be kind of your 1-2 artillery combo. As you start to unlock Generation 2, 3, and ultimately 4 officers, then you're going to have a broader range of officer pairings that you can use with Eruptor. One being Eye of Providence, who is also geared towards attacking bases, except he's obviously a Generation 3 officer that is infinitely stronger than Eruptor, but pairing them together is a pretty good combination against bases. Another big draw for Eruptor is once you have him fully awakened, his 5th awakened skill reduces the load time of this officer's artillery by 10%. Obviously, anytime you can reduce the load time of an officer in general, regardless of whatever type of officer it is, or regardless of whatever type of unit that officer is on, that's going to be helpful for you. But when it comes to Eruptor specifically, being able to reduce that load time means you're going to get more shots off when you're attacking bases specifically, which means you're going to be able to dish out that much more damage at that quicker of a rate, which ultimately means that you're going to be destroying that base much quicker, which ultimately has even a bigger benefit, which means you're going to save reserves and things like that. So Eruptor in just kind of a basic package is a very simple officer. Again, he's a good artillery officer just in general, but he really thrives when attacking bases. Now let's transition and talk about some officers that Eruptor pairs well with. Obviously, like we've already talked about, Antonina Shevchenko is, especially early game, kind of the given pair, so to speak. You're not really going to have another artillery-specific officer other than those two in the early game. So those two kind of just have a natural cohesion with each other right out of the gate. But now let's jump over and talk about the next officer after you start to unlock, like I said, Generation 2, 3, and 4 officers. Eruptor, we're not going to go too in-depth with this. Of course, one day down the road, we're going to have a video specifically dedicated to Eye of Providence, but just kind of a quick overview on why he does so well with Eruptor, again, especially when you're attacking bases. First one is he's going to reduce the skill prep time for all of the officers. That means you're going to be hitting those tactical skills at an even quicker rate. Eruptor, Eye of Providence also dishes out 32% extra damage when attacking fortifications. And once you have Eye of Providence fully awakened, you're going to have his awakened skill, which when in an artillery troop increases skill damage dealt to bases by 40% for all officers in this troop. So you can just see why having these two together is just going to have a big snowball effect, and you're going to be dishing out quite a bit of damage to bases and fortifications. Another good officer pairing with Eruptor, which I think gets largely overlooked, and it's by no means the just absolute best combination in the whole world, but it's a good solid combination as you start to make that transition into the mid game and then ultimately the later game. But that's going to be War Machine, and War Machine is just an all-around good officer on any troop type. But the big win here with War Machine and why he does pretty well with Eruptor is because Eruptor's awakened skill is going to reduce the load time. And then also War Machine's fourth skill reduces the load time. So sure, you can borrow this skill and just use it on Eruptor, for example, through the skill training system. But we're just talking about strictly officer combinations. This is a good pairing for that reason, but also just because War Machine is going to be giving you extra firepower and extra damage, just baseline conversation. So that's Eruptor in a nutshell. Obviously nothing crazy. He's not the best officer in the entire game, but he is a very good officer, especially for that niche situation where you might find yourself attacking a base. Let me know what you think about Eruptor. Who do you run him with if you run him at all? I would definitely be interested to see some of the officer combinations you guys are using in tandem with Eruptor in the comments. If you made it this far into the video, if you have access to Discord and are not already in our community Discord server, the link to that is going to be in the description of the video. Click on that link, it'll take you right into the community Discord server. Whether you're a new player, have questions, want to learn, whether you're a veteran player, just want to come hang out, talk to more people in the community, doesn't matter, absolutely everybody is welcome. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch the video today, and we'll see you guys on the next one.